Sairam, everyone. Just to recollect what we discussed last week, Swami is talking about various gurus, who by their actions and their activities and the way they behave, they do more damage than good. And compared to them, a householder who is doing what is stipulated for him or her is better. I think that was the gist of what we were discussing, I think, when we were closing. So that's where we were, and I will ask Sister Kalyani to continue from where we left off. Saira.
The chief reason for the decline of the culture of India, of its ancient way of life, and its moral rectitude is this: the evil perpetuated by such fakes. Faith in God has declined for the same reason. They advise tyaga, renunciation, and aspire for bhoga, luxury. They glorify morality and operate through hatred. This behavior cuts at the very root of sannyasa. They inevitably rush toward doom. Where words and deeds are not coordinated, there is no trace of truth. While householders do hold on to truth more or less tenaciously, there are among them many who are devoid of hate, of pure, unsullied hearts, and who tread the path of morality and virtue. But we find that the tyagis and yogis who parade as such are full of all possible types of hatred and all the manifestations of desire. They fall into the pit which these dig for trapping them. Egoism, envy, exhibitionism. These bring to end all the efforts of the sadhaka. Therefore, seekers and devotees must be ever vigilant. They must keep away from all these undesirable traits, and they should try to grow in the contemplation of the glory of God and in the practice of morality, eagerly striving to experience the real bliss of attainment. This bliss has then to be shared with the world. That will inaugurate world peace and world prosperity. Krishna was referring to such real jnanis when he said that the world will shine in splendor through the jnanis. A man without jnana is a home without light.
Thank you very much, Kalyani. So this is what we read and discussed last week. If there's anyone who has something to share, please go ahead. I will stop here.
Just to clarify, for egoism, envy, and exhibitionism, what words does Swami use? This.
Yeah, so Auntie, the last paragraph, I think, Auntie, in chapter 13.
Yeah, chapter 13.
Yes.
Telugu, chapter 13.
Yes, Auntie.
Yeah. Asuya ahankara adambaramlo.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Ahankara adambaramlo. Exhibitionism is adambaram. Ahankara is egoism.
And envy is asuya.
Asuya, envious.
So Swami has used the word asuya, ahankaram,
Adambaram.
So I think you can say ahankaram, asuya, and adambaram. That's the order in which it's said in English.
Okay.
Adambaram, like it means kind of like to show off, that kind of thing?
Exactly, yeah.
Showing off, showing off.
I think if everyone is okay, then we can proceed, I guess.
I just had one more question. You know, Swami says, where words and deeds are not coordinated, there's no trace of truth. And just in terms of in general, like when we speak of like unity of thought, word, and deed, does that only apply like when it comes to good thoughts?
Yes. Good, good intentions. Let me put it that way. But I think there are discourses where Swami has said, generally people have good Trikarana Shuddhi when they want to do something bad.
Okay.
But when they want to do something good, Trikarana Shuddhi is very difficult to achieve. That's what Swami. So yes.
So that's implied whenever Swami speaks of.
Yes, I think so. If anyone others have something to say, please go ahead. Yes, Kalyani, go ahead.
Like when you're, let's say when your thoughts are not good, or when you're not feeling joyful, or when you're feeling sad or something like that, like is it like in terms of showing that in your words and deeds, are you supposed to try to not show that, or
Okay, that's a good question. I will open it up for discussion. Anyone has something to say, if we feel upset or something like that, should we communicate that through word and deed? I think that's the question. So Kalyani, I think I will go back to, we have to go back to Geetha Vahini. Arjuna, yes, Sister Aruna, you wanted to say something.
Brother, clarify a little more the question, please, just to understand more. What is the question again, please, Kalyani or Brother Aruna?
Kalyani, why don't you?
no, I was just asking, like, it seems clear that when you want to do it, you're having good thoughts, you should try to make sure your words and deeds and everything align with the good thoughts. But when you're having like a bad thought or a bad feeling or feeling upset or anything like that, then should you also try to make your words and deeds align with that? Because I feel like that in a way it's being authentic to what you're feeling, but at the same time, maybe that's not good for our spiritual growth. Like, should we try to change our words or make our words more positive or do something more positive, even if we're not feeling that way?
So the words are not going with your thoughts, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I think Kalyani's question is, if you're upset, should we communicate in word and deed? I think that's the question. So then only it will be pure. Okay.
Brother, the upset comes under inner enemy, right? So that need to be removed. So why upset? The first you have to control. Then you have to purify your thought. Then you talk. That's how I look at it. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Yes, Brother Dasan.
Yes, Sairam, brother. So when you have upset, then you have anger. Anger will ruin everything. So it's like a fire. So we should not get anger. We have to be cool down, but that's what we practice, that one. We have to be love, softness. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Kalyani, I think Swami has answered this early on in the Gita itself. Starts with this because Arjuna was upset, and he showed it in word, deed, and Krishna took him to task because some of that is stemming from attachment, mamakara, ahankara. So I think any thought which arises first has to be examined whether it has any taint, and then if that is, then you pass through that filter, then the thought is worth communicating in word and also showing in action, is the way I understand. So I will stop here. If anyone has something to say, please.
Last time before we concluded, we were also speaking about the topic of like how, you should speak softly and lovingly, but maybe sometimes you need to be firm, and you should not care about what other people think or how other people perceive you if you're doing it for the right reasons. So just going along with that, like if you are feeling upset, like does that automatically disqualify that thought as like if you feel anger or if you feel upset because of a reason, does that mean that that reason is like your thought is already tainted by some egoism?
Yes, Kalyan. I think I'm reminded of a story which I read a long time ago. Maybe I will share. Apparently, in the Buddhist tradition in China, there was a Zen master, and that master was he was killed, murdered by someone who was very jealous of that master. So his disciple wanted to do justice to that action. He thought it is his duty as a disciple to get rid of that person. But then he ran into this challenge because that master had told him, you should not use what I have taught, which is a martial art exponent. He said, you should never do anything to you. You should never even engage in a fight or even do some harm to others, especially when you're angry. Not in a negative, when you're in an emotional state, when you have a negative emotion, you should not be doing it. So whenever this disciple confronted this person, that person would do something to get this disciple angry. Often he will spit or say something. And whenever he realized that he was angry, he will turn around and go back. And he will do meditation and calm himself, and again reach a state, and again he will go. So that is what was taught by the guru, so teacher. So apparently at the end, one day when he went, whatever the other person did, he was not he was no negative emotion was coming up in him. And at that day he said, what you did was wrong, and I will have to teach you a lesson for your own good. And then he finished him off. So which is what Arjuna tells Krishna also. Krishna tells Arjuna also, you fight. In fighting, you're going to kill people also. But adveshta sarva bhutanam, don't have hatred. So I think that's any action when you do, the emotional state should be not there, negative emotion. Your mind should be calm and pellucid. At that time, you can do anything. But if you are in the grip of anger, if the anger has taken over, we're slave to the emotion, we are a victim of an emotion, at that time speaking may not work out positively. I think that's my understanding. I hope.
Yes, thank you so much. That really clarifies.
Sairam, brother, I look at this one in a different angle. The thoughts, words, and deeds always should be synchronized. In my point of view, if it is good or bad, it should reflect. Say, for an example, my thoughts are really bad, but my words, it would be like very soft and
Sweet.
important words, and maybe in actions I will have something really bad, but in that three, the words, thoughts, and deeds, if it is not synchronized, even if I harm someone, they will think that, okay, this person is really good, the way that person is speaking and the other things, but my thoughts are really, really bad. So I think that even if I am in the negative, if those three things are the synchronized, even other people will be very cautious about me, or this person is really bad, we should be away from that person. For example, uh, we will take the Bhishma. Bhishma's thought was really, these people are really doing very bad things, but he was silent. He didn't say anything. But in his mind, he was really boiling and wanted to do something, but he was silent, and that's why the other people did that. Even this action is good, even in that great soul he thinks that it is good, that's why everything is okay or reasonable and justifiable. So that's why I am thinking that maybe I could be wrong, but I think that even words, thoughts, and deeds, they should be synchronized, even if it's a good or bad. If it's a bad, we shouldn't do, but other people would get us to know who this person and what this person is doing. Maybe that I just thought about slightly differently from others. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. Does anyone else have something to say?
Taramana.
Yes.
So I was saying that in that case, based on what Sister Anandi was saying, Duryodhana had bad thoughts, bad words, and bad actions. So will that make him a Mahatma? So it comes down to unity, purity, and divinity. So even as we have unity in thought, word, and deed, if it is governed by that purity, then divinity manifests. So while I do get the input that in terms of when we have a doing or having a bad thought that could affect somebody, going along the path of a bad thought, bad word, bad deed is only making us get more into the negative side. Rather, it can be when the bad thought comes, can I channelize it with Swami's name and then take that thought level itself to a good thought so that it goes down the other path? Because when it comes as a bad thought, like what Anna was saying earlier, can we filter it through our intellect and examine it and then take it down the other path? Because if we take it down every time, instead of going left, if we go right, then obviously what we take as right becomes right. And if it is governed by that purity, then we can be rest assured that we will have divinity. So every time it's about purity that is guided, unity that is guided by purity for the sake of divinity.
Thank you very much, Sai. So if everyone is okay, maybe we will move. Yes, Kalyani, new chapter.
Chapter 14. Nahi jnanena sadrisham. There is nothing equal to jnana. And what is jnana? That which makes you cross this sea of flux, this samsara. Of course, it is of two kinds. The first is objective knowledge, vishaya jnana, and the second, integral knowledge, or abheda jnana. The first type is knowledge of the world. The second is the knowledge of the identity of Brahman and the individual Atma, which is called abheda, or undifferentiated, or integral jnana. This jnana is not a function of the intellect or buddhi. It is a feature of something beyond it, something which witnesses the activities of even the buddhi. It destroys the delusion about this constant flux, mistaken to be a reality. It removes fear from the heart of man. It reveals to him the Brahman, which he and all this is. So it is called the right jnana, or samyak jnana, the samipa jnana, or the nearest jnana.
Thank you. So Swami is taking us to the Jnana Yoga part of the Gita. So I think it's quite straightforward, I guess, from how Swami has communicated. So I will stop here and I will open it up for any comments or thoughts.
Oh, sorry. Is that a correct translation for the first? There's nothing equal to jnana. That's what that first sentence means?
Yeah.
Yes.
జ్ఞానంతో సమానమైనటువంటిది వేరొకటి లేదు. In Telugu also, Swami says.
Abheda means undifferentiated?
Yeah, without any differentiation. Actually, here, this jnana is not a function of the intellect or buddhi. It's a feature of something beyond it, something which witnesses the activities of even the buddhi. Here, I think Swami is talking about the sakshi, the witness consciousness which we all have. I think Swami is speaking about that kind of sakshi bhava.
Oh, can you read that sentence in Telugu?
Yeah. సంసారమును సముద్రమును దాటించి పరమ ప్రాప్తిని ఏది కలిగించునో దానినే జ్ఞానమని అందురు. అట్టి జ్ఞానము కూడా రెండు విధములుగా ఉన్నది. అందులో మొదటిది విషయ జ్ఞానమనియు రెండవ దానిని అభేద జ్ఞానమనియు అందురు. అనగా మొదటిది లౌకికమైనది, రెండవది అహం బ్రహ్మాస్మి అనే బ్రహ్మత్వ విజ్ఞానమే. దీనినే అభేద జ్ఞానం అందురు. ఇది అనాది, సంసార భయాన్ని నివారించి మానవుని నిర్భయ స్వరూపిణి చేసి బ్రహ్మ ప్రాప్తిలో ప్రవేశపెట్టును. ఇది బుద్ధికి సాక్షి అయి ఉండును. అందువలన దీనికి సమ్యక్ జ్ఞానం అని పేరు. Swami has not given aham here. It's not rendavadi aham brahmasmi, the second type of.
Yeah, they have not translated that.
Not translated it.
They just call it identity of Brahman. That's what.
Brahman and individual Atma.
Yes, Brother Thasan. Yes, okay, Sairam, brother. So we have two kind of knowledge. One is jnana can be divided in what do you call abkheda jnana. Other one is that is jnana.
Vishaya jnana. The one is Vishaya jnana.
Vishaya jnana is you are learning about material things, world. So that doesn't give you the freedom, but people think that money, wealth, and your family, once people are working hard to attain that one, but it's very seldom people are going through the final freedom. The purpose of the life is to reach to the final freedom. That is the what we call about Atma and the Brahma. Once you learn about that one, you will achieve the final goal, that final freedom. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, brother.
Sairam, what about the right jnana and the samyak jnana and the samiba jnana? Are there any examples to better understand those two terminologies?
Anandi, there is no Samipa Gnana in Telugu in Swami's words.
Oh.
There is no Samipa Gnana, nearest Gnana. It's only Samyak Gnana, the right knowledge. That is called Samyak Gnana. knowledge that individual and the Paramatman are one and same. Brahmatmekya Vada Gnana. That's also called Abheda Gnana. Swami is talking about. It is Samyak Gnana. That's the only Gnana which is right. Sairam.
So maybe this is a little confusion in the very last sentence there.
No, I think in Telugu, Swami has not written Samipa Gnana.
Okay.
I think the Samyak Jnana is missing, sister, in the translation.
It's not right Gnana or Samyak Gnana. He has written Samyak Gnana, but added Samipa Gnana.
No, auntie, in the translation, Samyak Jnana went missing.
Oh, right, Jnana missed.
So that's where the translation didn't get. But I think, Sister Anandi, there's you asking about example. Swami saying Samyak Jnana means knowing that you are God. That is Samyak Jnana. Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. So that once you know that you are God, that knowledge experientially is Samyak Jnana, based on what Swami has said. Because then we will see the entire world as delusion, unreal, and so on.
Okay, thank you so much, brother.
Brother, it says that it is a feature of something beyond it, something which is witness. Is it a Atma they are talking about? The divinity within you? Yes. Thank you.
That's what Auntie has already mentioned, that so he has a consciousness, or chit, or whatever. So it's a function of the Atman. I think if everyone is okay, maybe we will read the next paragraph. I think Swami is sort of explaining more.
So just the literal word samyak means right?
Yes.
Samyak is right.
And it's not that it is not that it is a feature of something beyond it. Swami's just saying
it's beyond the buddhi. I think Swami wants to say it's a feature, it's something beyond it, something. So it is beyond the faculty of buddhi. I think that's what it is. But the Telugu, I think, Auntie, the beyond the, she's asking about the feature beyond. The translation is a bit funny, Kalyani.
Yeah,
I don't think, yeah.
I think Swami's just saying it is the sakshi of the buddhi, right?
Exactly, that's what it is. It's the sakshi of bhakti, yes.
Sakshi. Idi buddhi ki sakshi undanu.
Yeah, because the sakshi wouldn't have any features, I guess.
No, not at all.
Exactly, yeah. Just a witness consciousness, as Auntie had earlier mentioned. Swami also calls it conscience.
Yeah.
Conscience is, that which will tell, this is right, wrong. Even the buddhi makes a mistake. Conscience will tell us, so that is the witness at the individual level.
Is there any other word for abheda other than undifferentiated?
That's undifferentiated is the only one.
Okay. Why is it called undifferentiated knowledge?
Because it's Advaita is my understanding.
Yeah. There is no difference between Brahman and the individual. Abheda. There is no Bheda.
Bheda means difference?
Difference. Yes. There is no difference actually between Brahman and the individual Atma. That is why it's called Abheda.
Okay.
So when there are two, then there's difference. When there's one, there's no difference. There's nothing to compare to.
Okay.
Yeah. So so that's why I said Advaita state. Atma, when at Atmic level, you see everything as Atma. All is Aham Brahmasmi means every Aham, the individual I, is Atman. So there is only one. Brahman is the only entity left. So then that knowledge is that Advaita Jnana or Abheda Jnana.
There are two paths by which man can approach this Abheda Jnana, the inner and the outer. The outer sadhana is nishkama karma, engaging in activity without attachment towards the result of those activities, as dedicated to the Lord. The inner sadhana is dhyana, meditation, and samadhi, equipoise, devoid of ups and downs. In Vedantic terminology, this is named nididhyasana. Listen and meditate on what you have listened to. Those two steps are the basis of this nididhyasana, or inner concentration. Without these, dhyana is impossible of achievement. This is the meaning of what is called Atma Samyama, the control of the senses, detachment from the outer sensory world, the withdrawal of the mind from the outer world. This is the goal of all life, knowing the Paramatma, attaining liberation. There can be no second aim for man. Man is endowed with life not as a means for building bungalows, the acquisition of estates, the accumulation of wealth, the addition of progeny, the earning of titles, or ascent into higher rungs of social life. His greatness does not depend on these. The chief success of life lies in the winning of permanent bliss, permanent escape from grief and agitation.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So I think Swami has introduced a couple of new concepts, I guess. It's first time I think Swami is talking about Nishkama Karma. I think it's so far. And also he's talking about the Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, what we learn, how we should contemplate and put it in practice. So I will just stop here. Anyone wants to share any thoughts, comments, please go ahead.
I think all are familiar with the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, the 3 steps to attain that Jnana. I think all of us, I hope.
Auntie, say that again, please.
Shravana is
Yeah,
to listen.
Shravana, listening.
Manana, then
Yeah.
contemplating upon what you have heard.
Yes. Okay.
And then Nididhyasana, concentration and meditation. It is Nididhyasana. Dhyana is possible. Or assimilating whatever you have learned so far. Whatever you have heard, whatever you have already contemplated upon, and assimilating the whole thing
Thank
in
you.
a solid way. That is Nididhyasana.
Thank you.
Sayonara.
So Swami saying there's two paths. One is the outer sadhana, which is nishkama karma. And the inner sadhana, Swami says, is dhyana and samadhi. And then Swami says in Vedantic terminology, it's nididhyasana. So Swami saying dhyana and samadhi is the same as nididhyasana?
Yes, so as you can see in the last sentence, the paragraph, Swami is saying without this dhyana is impossible achieve. We cannot achieve dhyana. So it's a precondition of dhyana itself.
Yeah.
And that word nididhyasana, can it be broken into any parts?
I will let Auntie, you can. Someone said something.
Nidhi and Dhyasana, I don't think so.
Yeah, because dhyasa itself is a word by itself.
Dhyasa will be something equivalent to dhyana.
Yes.
Nidhi, Dhyasana.
So Kalyani, it is ni is the prefix. Didyasa is
Yes.
the second one. Basically, which basically is repeatedly doing contemplation.
Okay.
And so basically it also means you go deeper and deeper into that contemplation, which is done sequentially, repeatedly. And that those are the meanings which I give.
Dhyasana, it should be. Dhi, isn't it?
No,
Dhi,
it's
connection.
Hasva only, auntie. It is short. Only they're giving.
Dhyasana.
Yeah, Didyasana.
Again and again do it. So
Yes.
Dhyasana.
Yeah. They're calling it Dhyai Chintayam. Chintayam means. So you repeatedly meditate on it.
Sorry, so the didyasa, that part means repeatedly meditate.
Meditation.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then ni refers to like inward, or
Ni is actually it makes it a bit more. It emphasizes it. You know, it's a bit more deep. You know, multiple meanings it can give like that.
and is it
Deeper.
asana? Is the
Pardon?
asana a separate word too, or no?
What did you say?
Asana at the end, is that a separate word?
I think asana means that state of, you know, doing that. It's what I understand.
And also, Swami says clearly in the beginning of this, in the first passage, that a man can approach or can get the Abheda Jnana either the inner way or the outer way. The inner is Nidithyasana and the outer is the Niskama Karma. But even though Swami equalized these two paths, why we always try to achieve through the Nidithyasana instead of Niskama Karma? Maybe Niskama Karma is very difficult to practice, or even though both paths are equal, maybe when we go further and further, we will leave out maybe in the karmic part or service part. We always tend to achieve through the nidithyasana, more of meditation, and in that way. So, what would be the reason for that? Maybe at the old age we may not be able to achieve through the niskama karma, or that may be the reason we tend to go towards the nidithyasana side.
Good question, sister. But I think, auntie, you have something to say?
Actually, these two parts, what Swami is saying is, first it should be practiced serially, sequentially, not first Nishkama Karma. If it is practiced the outer field, we get the purity of our heart. We have to purify our mind by Nishkama Karma. Then it is fit for Dhyana. So sequentially, it should be Nididhyasana comes later on, Nishkam Karma first, and then Nididhyasana can be practiced. I think I have understood this. These two steps have to be in a sequential manner. Saira.
Thank you very much, auntie. I think Sitaram asked a question: is this study circle a Nishkam Karma activity? But yes, brother.
Yeah, Sairam brother. In order to achieve the Abheda Jnana, we can do it Niskama Karma or Dhyana. So both is going to control the five senses, because the five senses is the one giving trouble, control the mind. So once we do the Niskama karma, it takes some time. We studied that dhyana is the royal path, that faster, that both will, when we, whatever, either Niskama karma or dhyana, definitely will control the mind, and we will experience the final goal. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Auntie,
Oh,
in
sorry.
this first paragraph, it says two paths. It doesn't say it's a sequential order. So either you can take the path of the Nishkama karma or the meditation samadhi. That's what it is. It's not sequential order. Am I right? Because it
But-
says two paths.
Yeah, but according to Advaita,
Okay.
only karma will not take us to the goal.
Oh,
First of all, yeah, it has to be purified. The mind has to be purified completely by doing Nishkama karma, by engaging ourselves in activities without attachment, so that our minds are ready for meditation. That's how Advaita explains. Maybe there are people who, by doing only Nishkama karma, they may reach that goal. I think there are examples for that also. I don't know. Arun, is it?
is it Swami then starting with the two paths?
There are two paths by which man can approach this Abheda Gnana. Swami is saying that.
Okay.
I don't know. Arun, can you just explain?
Yeah, so I don't know. So, so the way I was doing some nididhyasana.
Okay.
See, the challenge is in this world, everyone engages in action. That is completely, natural for people to engage in action. And everyone who engages in action is actually looking for some fruit. They only engage in action because they want something. Otherwise, no one engages in action. This is the reality in this life. So if the entire world is engaged in action, are they following the path is the question. Then how can they start doing Nishkama karma is the first question. All the people. To do that, you have to do some nididhyasana. First, we should study what Swami has said. Krishna says, offer it to me, don't be attached. That itself is instruction from the Lord. Actually, without that, Nishkama karma cannot be practiced. No one will get to that state. Because we should learn some lesson, we should think about it. And when we are doing it, we should think about it and then apply it. Without that, we will not do Nishkama karma. But the thing is, there are two types of people in this world, I understand. One is people who are engaged in more activity than internal contemplation. Some people don't want to do much work, but they want to do only contemplation. As Sister Ananthi was telling, we all like to do nididhyasana. But the thing is, such people also, unless they apply it, they really don't know whether they have done the nididhyasana properly. Because whether people realize it or not, even when they are not doing an action, that's also action, Swami will say. So the thing is, they are complementary paths, parts of a path. But the thing is, if people are more activity based, let them do more action, but they have to do some contemplation. Without that, they will be always after, all the action will be kamya karma. With desire only they will do. So first, to get to the Nishkama karma also, we need to do some nididhyasana. It may be less. Actually, if we go back to Geetha Vahini, Swami has covered this. He's talking about for every action, you need to do meditation. In the world also, focus is needed. You need to know how it's to be done. Then only you can do the action. But the thing is, they complement each other, whether we realize it or not. It's just like bhakti, jnana, and karma. Even to do seva, you need to have devotion for the Lord, so that you can offer that seva to the Lord. You need to have knowledge how it's to be done. So that's the way I understand. I hope I Sai Satish, please go.
Yes, Anna. So I was just going to add to what you were saying that Swami has said about concentration, contemplation and meditation. So if we are like, we know that Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that Mam Anusmara Yuddhacha. It is not just smara, but Anusmara. So like what we were discussing a little point in time, sometime a few minutes ago, it's about going deep. So we concentrate. So even as we have the Shravanam, then the Mananam contemplation takes place, and Nididhyasana becomes deep-rooted contemplation or meditation. And that is where, when we talk about the inward path or the outward path, the thought is nothing but subtle action, and action is nothing but subtle thought, because it is or more tangible thought, however you want to put it. Because even as we are doing the concentration or contemplation at the thought level, all the dynamics of our body is undergoing all of the actions, because the way we react within is the way we react without. Because first, where is anger expressed? More than expressing in words in that person, I feel that anger well within me, and that happened because of the thought that came in. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is, when we go into that state of Nididhyasana, that state of Nididhyasana, it's like a synergy. It's a I won't call it a vicious circle, but a reinforcing circle, where if we do the right thought inside, and that keeps generating the right action as nishkama karma outside, that nishkama karma gives the peace of mind on the inside. So like Anna was saying, it goes continuously. What gets manifested inside is again getting manifested outside, which reinforces on the inside. So going along the same path of Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, or concentration, contemplation, meditation, or in terms of how Bhagawan has said, outside Nishkama Karma getting reflected as the Nididhyasana inside. It's two sides of the same coin. So it is not like one is separate from the other. Saira.
Thank you, Sai Sathya.
Uncle, you were mentioning earlier that Didyasa means like repeatedly contemplating. Isn't that the
Yes,
same as Manana?
you can, so manana is ruminating, bringing to your mind again and again, or remembering it again and again. That is, I would say, manana. Okay, repeating in the mind, and that should trigger a deeper contemplation.
Okay.
You listen something, then you need to bring to your memory again and again. Memorizing, if you actually, manana is something like memorizing it.
What you have heard,
But repeat it.
repeat it in your mind. That is manana.
Swami would say that chewing the cud, the cow, how it chews the cud, it will bring out, after it has eaten, it will bring out latent from within it and chew on it. That is manana, and which will lead. Yeah.
So I think, Kalyan, you asked about asana. So there are three root words which make that word. Ni, which is the prefix. Dhyai is the second root. The last one is sun.
Sun.
Okay. So that is the root words, and when they come together with some modifications, it becomes Nididhyasana. Okay. So it's like absorption of that information and assimilation. I think that's the word which Auntie had used earlier. Nididhyasana gives rise to assimilation. So the thing is, the Sai Sathya said, chewing the cud, the cow chews and chews, and when the whatever comes out, the body absorbs and makes it its own. And that process of absorption or assimilation, I think, is Nididhyasana.
Yeah.
And what does sun mean?
Sun is the state, resting,
Rest.
That's why I call it a state, that's, I cannot come away. Okay.
Okay.
comes to rest or it's absorbed. I think all that kind of meaning.
So when we are doing Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, is this like a something prescribed or like something, okay, it was like, okay, I'm going to do Manana right now and repeat something that I've read in my head? Or is it something more just you think about it, or are you actually repeating in your mind those exact words?
That is manana. See, the word sun, you asked, no, the exact meaning is enjoy, possess, acquire, gain. All that is sun. Bestow, give, distribute. Okay. So that means it's fully absorbed, it becomes internalized, it's yours. That process is sun.
Okay.
Okay, I hope.
So, Sairam, brother, I like to add to the some people might think which one to go, dhyana or niskama karma. In Gita, in Lord Krishna saying to Arjuna, do the duty, do the niskama karma, then you will merge with me. But even though dhyana is a royal path, you have to go through some difficulties. But niskama karma is easy, but slow and steady win the race. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you, brother. Swami calls it the bullock cart. It will definitely get there, it may be slow.
I think in one of our previous session, Brother Sai Satish explained a bit differently on this one. Maybe it's like a Nishkama Karma and the Nidithyasana. It's like we are taking in our maybe college or university program, major program and the minor program. Maybe if we are doing the the business program, we will take some of the maybe the science courses or maybe some other sub courses we will take it. So even though Swami categorized as two different, or Krishna categorized as two different paths, Nishkama Karma and the Nidithyasana, we need some sort of knowledge, even maybe not necessarily in depth, at least some sort of site knowledge. We need to make it as complete. Now I remember that maybe one of our previous sessions, Brother Sai Sadish, I believe he explained to us, maybe major program, minor program. We need both to make it as a complete program. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So I was telling in the context of Arti, Artarti, Jignasu, and Jnani. And in that context, I was telling about some like Arti being in the primary school, Artarti being in the higher secondary, and then Jignasu being at a little higher, and Jnani, of course, having the absolute thing at the university level. Is that what you're referring to? I'm just trying to understand. Like,
Maybe today, I remember that I thought to you, brothers, maybe someone else explained to us. It's about, even if we take, say, for an example, engineering program, it's a major program, but they also need to take some business courses in order to complete that degree, because that sort of knowledge they need to complete that course. Maybe I just remembered that even our program, it may call engineering program or business program or science program, we need the other knowledge too to make it complete. Then only they will give us the maybe the degree title or the designation title or to complete that program. So I just remembered, someone told us.
Thank you, sister. I think what sister is saying, if you're you're doing a master's in chemistry, you still need math and physics. Without the understanding of those principles, it may not be possible to grasp the subject of chemistry or something like that.
Yes, Rana. And going with what Sister Kalyani had mentioned earlier, in terms of that repeating thing, I reminded of what Swami would say, nahi nahi rakshati dugrum karane. Like, it's not about that repeating of, like a parrot repeating is not manana. It is not going with just the letter, but the spirit behind that letter which guides manana into nididhyasana. So that aspect of repeating or reminding is more from that internalizing, from the part that it doesn't just stay at the level of a letter, but at the spirit. Just
Yeah, very, very nice, Sai Satish, because the word dukring is actually a Panini Sutra for the root word kr, for action. Okay, but so that's why he's telling, repeating the word, we have to do it, doesn't matter. You have to do it. So,
And also this Shravanam, Mananam, and Nidithyasanam, these three steps in the process, not only for the spiritual part, even for our education or anything, these three stages is really important. First, we have to hear, or we have to hear from someone, and then we have to memorize, and then we have to assimilate and absorb. These three steps, even for the worldly level, it's still applicable, for education or anything. That's why I thought even uh, even if some people may think that this is only for the spiritual seekers. This is really the applicable and useful for even for the worldly perspective too. These three steps.
yes, sister. I think second paragraph, I don't think we discussed much. So maybe we should discuss a little more. Swami is talking about the goal of life, talking about Atma Samyama. I think Sitaram was asking whether this study circle session itself is a Nishkama karma. Because if anyone has, he has asked a question and I don't think we discussed it.
Yes, Sai brother. It is a niskama karma because listening is action first.
But
So,
is it Nishkama? I think that's the question.
niskama. Yeah, niskama karma. Listening is a niskama karma. Any action, even thoughts, is a niskama karma. Thank you, Sarah.
I guess that's an individual question because only you can know if you have no desire when we're engaging in any activity.
Thank you, Pooja.
Brother, you have to tell us, please. Thank you.
No, I think Swami has answered it in the second paragraph. I think the karma, I think if at all if you have, I think we have discussed this also. Having a desire means you have to have only desire for moksha. All other karma desires should be given up. So I don't think much will come out of this study circle because I don't think we can build bungalows. We can acquire estates, no wealth, no progeny, no titles.
There is no worldly desire in attending satsang. Here we are all striving to understand what is Swami's message, and we are trying to understand it and try to live what we have learned so far. I think it is, for example, Arun is not doing any action which he expects something fruit from it. He is doing a Nishkama Karma, and we are all engaged in that activity. That's it. I think what we are doing, even though we have the desire to reach the moksha, it is a genuine desire. It's not worldly desire.
Yeah, it sort of falls under Nididhyasana, actually, to read again and again what Swami has discussed, to try to understand. So I'm sure we all remember it for a little while. So I think it is a part of Nididhyasana.
Yeah. Swami is saying in Telugu, మనోనిగ్రహానికి కావలసిన ఉపాయములనే ఆత్మ సంయమనందురు. So the main aim is to control the mind. మనోనిగ్రహానికి కావలసిన ఉపాయములు అనే ఆత్మ సంయమం అందరు. Swami is giving a very good.
I think the translation doesn't do. Upayamulu mean would it be techniques, Auntie?
Techniques.
Yeah, the techniques of mind control.
Controlling the mind, control of the mind is Atma Sanyama.
Here is the Atma referring to the small self?
Generally, when the Atma is mentioned, it's only one's Atma. So it is the big one only, is my understanding. In this case, at least, yeah. Actually, Samyama means it's absorption in the Atman, Auntie. Is that a good translation of Samyama?
Mano Nigraham.
Yeah.
It's not absorption, it is control over the mind.
Okay.
Is it like yama, niyama?
Yeah. I say that. Yama. జీవితమున ఇదియే లక్ష్యము, పరమాత్మను తెలుసుకున్నట, ముక్తిని సాధించుట. So the two aims.
Yeah. So I think Kalyani is right. Kalyani is Yama, the best Yama, Sam.
Yeah. Sanyama. Yama. Sanyama.
Yeah.
So in that case,
brother, what is the meaning? Sorry.
Go ahead, Auntie.
No, I'm trying to understand what is the real meaning of samyama. It's
control of the mind.
Control of the mind is yama.
Mano nigraha is the word Swami has used.
Mano nigraha.
Controlling the mind is samyama, which is yama means again control. Samyama means good control.
Good.
If you want to put.
Atma samyama mean going closer to Atma. Yes.
Through samyama.
Samyama. Yeah. Atma samyama. Thanks.
Until we overcome the mind, we cannot reach the.
That's what. For Nididhyasana, control of the mind is very, very necessary.
So because it's coming as a one word of Atma Samyama, so going closer to the Atma, the control of senses.
Control of the mind, first of all. First, control of the mind.
Okay, thank you.
So it's saying mano nigraha, like to control the mind, the technique is Atma Samyama?
Yeah, the techniques needed for the mind control is Atma Samyama. That's the way you can say. Because Swami say Mano Nigrahaniki Kavalasina.
Upayamalu.
Means Kavalasina means the required
techniques.
Upaya means techniques. Because Swami is telling, is explaining what was already explained earlier. He's saying what he has explained earlier, which through this Nididhyasana, it is also called Atma Samyama. And then he explained what is Atma Samyama as these are the techniques required for control of the mind.
Oh, sorry. So is he saying that the Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, that's...
So, yeah, Swami has actually equated Nishkama Karma, Nididhyasana, and Atma Samyama also, as there are different ways people are referring to, that kind of sense.
That context, isn't it a top-down approach? Isn't it? Because
Yes.
because when you say Nishkama Karma, when you say...
It's bottom up.
Yeah, Nishkama Karma is of course bottom up, but when you say in the thing of Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, again I understand it is bottom up, but ultimately the idea is when you're perceiving yourself, or if I'm perceiving myself as the witness and operating, then it becomes top down.
Yes. So you can say Nididhyasana is somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Because Swami is saying Atma Samyamam Anaga Kuda Arthamu Idiye. That's what it's Auntie Sardani. That's how he starts that.
Kuda Arthame Idi. Arthamu Idi.
Yeah. So Swami is saying if.
So when we are doing something like bhajan, so we are doing no doubt the sat karma, or however we want to call that action. But even as we are doing that part of bhajan and trying to keep our focus on Bhagawan, even as that process happens, if that focus becomes so intense, you are like one person, like somebody's already traversing that path. Because during bhajan, when you really experience that feeling of joy within, it is tapping into that ultimate state, right? So I'm just saying,
Atma Samyamam, you can't say that. You are using the God to get your mind, get over your mind.
Yeah, exactly. Because to tackle the mind directly is difficult. So you use God there, and then in that process, since you're holding on to God, control of mind is anyway ensured. That kind of.
So the way the English words it makes it sound like Swami's going on to explain what Atma Samyama is, but in Telugu, Swami saying above what he mentioned, this is also...
Yeah, Swami is saying Atma Samyamam Anaga Kuda
Arthamu Idi.
If you say Atma Samyama, that also means the same thing. And then he gives a slightly explanation of what is that Atma Samyama. Then he says, Mano Nigrahaniki, the techniques required for control of the mind are called Atma Samyama.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it doesn't come through clearly in the English translation.
So the whole part about the control of the senses, detachment from the outer sensory world, the withdrawal of the mind from the outer world, that all is not there.
No. So you can see Swami's, no, it is not there actually.
Swami just goes on to say, this is the goal of all life, right?
Exactly. Manava Geetha Muna Idiye Lakshyam. This is the goal of life.
పరమాత్మని తెలుసుకున్నట ముక్తిని సాధించుట. అంతకంటే సత్యాన్వేషణం మానవుడికి వేరుండు లేదు.
Yeah, even that doesn't come through. Yeah. Satyanveshana means
in search of truth.
Search of truth, yeah.
Satyanveshana means search of truth?
Yes.
So sorry, that sentence means?
Pardon me?
What does that whole sentence mean? Satyanveshana?
Antakante. Other than that, సత్యాన్వేషణ మానవునకు మరొకటి లేదు, వేరొంటు లేదు. There's no other search for truth for man.
Okay. Can you just read the rest in Telugu also and translate?
Okay. You want me to read, Arun?
Auntie, yeah, I don't know some. I didn't. What is middelu, auntie?
మిద్దెలు అంటే ఇది ఫ్లోర్స్, ఫస్ట్ ఫ్లోర్, సెకండ్ ఫ్లోర్, థర్డ్ ఫ్లోర్.
Oh, I see. Oh,
ఒక మిద్దె.
I see.
మిద్దెలు, మేడలు.
Middle means stage, Maria.
మేడలు, కట్టడము.
Yes.
మిద్దె ఇల్లు అంటే
Multi-story building.
స్టోరీస్.
Story, yeah. భూములు,
కట్టడములు, భూములు సంపాదించటం, బిడ్డలను కనడం, ధనం.
So Swami is saying, various kinds of buildings, accumulating of all kinds of buildings.
Accumulating of wealth. భూములు సంపాదించేది. Is acquiring lands.
బిడ్డలను
కనడం,
begetting children.
ధనమార్జించడము.
So accumulating wealth.
పదవులకు ప్రాకులాడటము. For
aspiring for positions.
బిరుదులను పొందటము.
So getting titles. Obtaining titles.
ఇది కాదు మానవునికి గొప్పతనము.
This is not the greatness for man.
శాశ్వతానందమును పొందుటే, శాశ్వత దుఃఖ నివృత్తి చేసుకొనుటే, తానే బ్రహ్మమును అనుభూతిని సాధించుటే సాధన యొక్క సారము.
So Swami is giving three things as goals of the sadhana, or the essence of sadhana. Swami says permanent joy, permanent bliss. Permanent removal of sorrow, and
I am Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi.
Realizing that one is Brahman.
Sorry, the last one was what was the last one?
Brahmano. Tane Brahman.
Anubhutini. So Swami is saying you need to get the experience that you are the Brahman.
Aham Brahmasmi.
Sadhinchute, attaining that state. These are the three aims. Swami's the Saksaramu means essence of sadhana is these three. So whatever we are trying to do, the essence of that is to obtain these three states. One is permanent joy, permanent removal of sorrow, and realizing that one is Atma, one Brahman.
Thank you.
So basically Swami is telling Nishkama Karma, Nidhityasana, Atma Samyama, have these three as the goal. That's the real meaning of these three activities.
Sairam, I have a question on this one. Swami says the goal of life, he has listed three things, and two of the things as detachment from the outer sensory world and withdrawal of the mind from the outer world. We can see some people, they have these two characteristics. They are detachment from the outer sensory world and the withdrawal of their mind from the outer world. Why we categorize those people differently than the high elevated spiritual people? Swami says those are the necessary things to achieve the goal of all of our life. They know, they knowingly or unknowingly withdrawal of the mind from the outer world, and they also detach from the outer sensory world, and they live on their own world, and we categorize those people differently and we treat them differently. Maybe
Which Auntie, which sister, which paragraph are you referring to?
this is the meaning of what is called Atma
Samyama, yes.
Samyama. Yeah, those three things Swami listed. Maybe I had a question myself in this. Some people, they withdraw their mind from the outer world, and they have detached themselves from the outer sensory world. And why we categorize those people differently and treat them differently than these spiritually high elevated people? Swami says those two things are really important. That should be part of our part of the whole of our goal of our life. So I asked myself, maybe one element is missing, control of the senses. That's the reason we treat them differently.
Does anyone have anything to say to sisters on this question?
Because they may be higher elevated, but we don't know. They will sit on the street or in front of the malls. They will be they will live in their own world, but we categorize them very differently, treat them differently or even badly, and the that's why I thought even these two elements fits into their world too.
So I think the way I would understand, say, approach this sister is, what is in other people's mind we will never know. Whether they are overcome their senses or they are detached, I think which each person has to realize for themselves. Um, so I think categorizing others may not be I don't think it may fall under nididhyasana. So so I think it is very difficult for anyone else to from externally tell how a person's state of mind is. So I think it's in this context today only I was listening to a discourse of Swami from 2001. One of the questions was asked. Actually, this was a conference of school teachers of Sathya Sai schools in 2001. Okay, and in which the question was asked, Swami, how to know what is in the mind of the student, and so that we as teachers can help them. So that was the question. For which Swami says, look here. First, you know what is in your mind. Okay, then you will be able to deal with it. And he goes on to say, you can never know what is in the mind of a student. What you can do is you can observe what their behavior is and accordingly do whatever you can. Because what is in their mind can never be understood by anyone. So I think so taking that the instruction of Swami, what I would say is each of us have to ask for ourselves. Is our mind is controlled? Are we controlling the senses? Are we detached from? I think that's all we can do. If others seem they are over at a different state, we can respect them. Maybe we can learn something from them. That's all I can say.
Brother Sairam, just to add to that, in spirituality, we have to like always look at ourselves. And there's no supposed to be a judgment on the others. So if you have it always concentrating on you, what you are going to do, that only will reflect on others. So that's how, if you develop yourself, then you don't see the other person what they are doing. Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, thank you, sister. I think ultimately, you know, the last one, if somebody seems to have overcome grief and agitation, dukkha nivritti, you know, then that itself is a sign. Or if they are in permanent state of bliss, that itself is also a sign that, you know, their mind is their controlled, I think. Those are things. When that is not so, maybe, you know, everyone has to work on it. It's, yes,
Uncle,
Kalyani.
Uncle, could you please also read the paragraph before in Telugu? The first paragraph on this page?
Okay, Nishkama Karma one.
Yes.
Auntie.
Oh, Auntie, you are on mute.
The first paragraph, you mean?
Yes.
దీనినే మానవుడు
దీనినే మానవుడు సాధించవలనన్న రెండు మార్గములు కలవు. there are two paths. ఒకటి బహిరంగ సాధన, రెండవది అంతరంగ సాధన.
One is external sadhana and one is inner sadhana. Out.
అనగా నిష్కామ కర్మ అంతరంగ సాధన. నిష్కామ కర్మ అంతరంగ సాధన అనగా ధ్యాన సమాధులు. ఫస్ట్ స్వామి is saying బహిరంగ సాధన is నిష్కామ కర్మ, అంతరంగ సాధన is ధ్యాన సమాధులు, ధ్యాన అండ్ సమాధి. ఇట్టి స్థితికి ఆత్మ సంయమం అని కూడాను అందరు.
This is also called Atma Samyama.
That means state, this state, or iti stitiki?
Sthiti means state.
Oh, so is Swami saying Dhyana Samadhulu is also called Atma Samyama?
I think so. అంతరంగ సాధన ధ్యాన సమాధులు ఇట్టి స్థితికి ఆత్మ సంయమం అని కూడాను అందరు.
So I think that is not translated, Kalyani.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's there itself. Swami has called it, you know, that is Atma Samyama.
వేదాంత పరిభాషలో దీనినే నిధిధ్యాసనం అని పిలుతురు. ఈవెన్ ధ్యాన సమాధి is called నిధిధ్యాసన in వేదాంత. దీనినే పొందవలనన్న శ్రవణ మననాదులు ఆధారము.
To obtain Dhyana, you need to listen and meditate, which is, I don't think meditate is the word which you have, it's incorrect. Shravana, Swami says Shravana and Manana.
Swami is clearly
Listen
saying,
and repeat. Repetition and listening.
What does dinini mean?
This.
These things. These things. దీనిని పొందవలనన్న. To
attain, if you want these things.
Oh, and saying so Shravana Manana is the Adharam?
Adhara. వాటి ద్వారానే ధ్యానమును సాధించవలను. Only through Shravana Manana you can do that dhyana.
You can enter it like Dwaram.
Dwaram. What is the through them? Only through them you can attain dhyana. కానీ శ్రవణ మననాదులు లేక ధ్యాన సిద్ధి కలగదు. It's impossible to get.
So Kalyani, it's good that you asked.
Yeah.
Based on what I am seeing, Swami sort of equated Nididhyasana with Dhyana. Because he's telling Shravana Manana is needed for Dhyana.
Yeah.
And Shravana Manana is needed for Nididhyasana also.
Yeah.
So to a great extent, Swami sort of pointing them as almost identical.
Nididhyasa and dhyana, both.
Yes, because
Yeah.
Swami is saying Shravana Manana are prerequisites for both dhyana and as well as Nidhyasana. None of this actually comes through in the. Yeah, I think now when you, after reading this, if you read the English, you can understand they're trying to say the same thing. See, those two steps are the basis for Nididhyasana or inner concentration. Without these, dhyana is impossible to achieve. You know, but Swami in Telugu, it's very, very clearly stated. It is not as clearly evident in the translation.
Yeah.
I think that was a good request from Kalyani.
She is
Otherwise,
very about Telugu, Telugu, she always.
actually, I've given her something. I don't think she has looked
I'm
at it
using
yet.
it until that's how I.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see.
It's so helpful.
Auntie, what I have done is, you know, I just for everyone's, maybe I will send it to you also. I used to do Telugu, transcription of Telugu in English and the translation. So I have put all of them side by side.
Okay, that's
Then
why
if everyone is interested, I can share, because that is something which I have used to study Telugu and study what Swami has said, and also to take notes of whatever, you know, changes, you know, which comments which are needed to understand the English translation. So my goal was to come up with a document like that which everyone can use to study Swami's, but I've started it again. So Kalyani is the first recipient. I think
Kama karma. I don't.
I'm doing it for my purpose. If others benefit, it's
No, it's actually benefit of for others. Lokaseva Sangraha.
So actually, we can even make it available, you know, so people can refer and study.
Yeah.
It is just everything is open, transparent.
Okay, I think 4:30 now.
Oh, it's 4:30. So maybe I will pass it to Sister Aruna and she can distribute. I'm okay with it also. Otherwise, we can, maybe we will keep it up, and then once each chapter is done, we can post it.
Then that's better.
Yeah, because it's work in progress at this point in time. It's not complete.
Thank you.
So it's 4:28. Maybe we will close it and we'll engage in some Nididhyasana and Manana. So if everyone is okay, we will close with Samasta Loka and meet again next week. Saira.
Saira.
Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone.
Sairam.
Sai Ram.
Brother.